Hi lovely people, and welcome to my 2016 reading roundup video.
Doobie 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 doo. Doobie 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 Sophie Vlogs.
This is obviously not going to be a roundup of everything that I read in 2016 because I read quite a lot. I set myself a Goodreads reading challenge of 70 books, and as of recording this video I have completed my challenge and I'm super proud. So what I thought I'd do is return to a video that I recorded at the start of 2016, which was the top 10 books that I wanted to read, and I thought I'd just go through and see how successful I have been. The answer is surprisingly successful. I don't normally set myself specific books to read because I don't know about you, but like I don't really like telling myself that I have to read this one, then this one, then this one. I like to sort of just like go where the mood takes me and skip across genres, etc., etc. But this is the first year I've done it, and I'm going to do it again for 2017. That's going to be next week's video. It's going to be the 10 books I want to read in 2017. So if you're interested in that, do subscribe and then you'll find out. So, of the 10 books that I set myself to read in 2017, I have done 7.5 of them. The point 5 I will talk about to start with. This is Red, A Natural History of the Redhead by Jackie Collis Harvey. This is my point 5 because as of recording, I'm recording this like mid-December. I'm halfway through, very literally halfway through. I know that I will have finished this by the time 2016 ends because I'm speeding through it, but at the time of recording it's a point 5. When this is uploaded it'll be an 8. This is a non-fiction, essentially just a look at red hair. The first chapter is looking at it like genetically and talking about how like that all works and how that's come to be. And then it sort of moves onwards and you look at sort of like the cultural and social history of red hair, like these assumptions that we hold about red hair and what it signifies. Where have they come from? How do they differ across different cultures and peoples? And all this sort of thing. It's really interesting so far. I'm super loving it. It also has like little pictures in it and stuff, so like you can reference the artwork she's talking about, that sort of thing. If you're in any way interested in red hair and in how it has developed both genetically and like all of these assumptions we hold about it, etc., I would super duper recommend it. Next up we have Bi, Notes for a Bisexual Revolution by Shuri Eisner. This I read literally at the start of the year and I have mixed feelings on it. I wanted to read it because I am bisexual. This sort of talks about bisexuality as a political identity. I found for like the first half of the book I was like with her and I was like, yes, these things you're saying, interesting stuff, good. I found the second half of the book went places that I just couldn't really follow. I don't know whether that's just me not really understanding and getting it, or whether I just don't agree with the stuff she said. I don't know. It's been like a year and I'm still like mulling it over and considering it. So I'm glad I read it because I feel like it was informative and has caused me to think. I don't 100% agree with it. If you've read it and or are bisexual, I would be interested in hearing your thoughts because I feel like although it's been like a year, still kind of puzzling mine out. Number 3 is Foxglove Server by Ben Aronovich. Aronovich? Oh, I finally said it right. It's taken me like a year. This is one of the Rivers of London Peter Grant series about Peter Grant, who works in the police force for like sort of like the supernaturally unit, except for it's just like him and this other guy. This has been my favourite of the series so far. This book goes a little bit more into fae and fairy and fairyland and stuff, which I always like because I really like stuff that explores all of that. It also looks a little bit more, in the first book of the series, it's called Rivers of London, and you meet people who are like the physical manifestations of the rivers. And this book sort of explores them a little bit further as well, and I just really like those as a thing. That was really cool. It was probably my favourite of the series so far. I just feel like it's getting better and better. The Hanging Tree was released in 2016. It comes out in paperback in July 2017, so I'll be getting it then, because my whole series is in paperback and I don't want to buy the hardback, because, like, that would not be neat. So I'm definitely really looking forward to checking out The Hanging Tree. Book number 4 that was on my to-read list is The Girl Who Soared Over Fairyland and Cut the Moon in Two by Catherine M. Valenti, which is from her Fairyland series, and I love this series with, like, my whole heart. I also read, as well, The Boy Who Lost Fairyland, which is the sequel to this, and again, both of these books, this entire series, is one of the most lovely series that I've ever read. Like, this book is all about our main character who, she's been to Fairyland before, she returns to Fairyland, this time because she has to save Fairyland from a Yeti on the moon. Which, like, when you say it out loud, is kind of ridiculous. But just everything about these books really works for me. There's this, just all the wonderful ideas she has, and the beautiful way she writes. I love the way that Catherine Valenti writes. She's just beautiful. And it's a gorgeous mix of, like, all, you know, like, they're kind of, you could read these to your kids, and it's that sort of, like, level, but at the same time, like, some of the moments just, like, hit me. The final book of the series was released this year, which is The Girl Who Raced Fairyland All the Way Home, and I haven't read it yet because I have a tradition of buying these books from my mum for Christmas, so I've done that again with the final book. But I'm definitely planning on reading it in 2017. I just, like, have to wait until she has, because it's her present. I don't want to, like, piggyback on her present, but, like, I also really, really need to read it. I'm working my way through chronologically the order that I said them in my previous video, so now we come to the book that I haven't read. And that is Holding Still for as Long as Possible by Zoe Whittle. I just haven't got around to reading it yet. After that we had A Song for Arbonne by Guy Gavriel Kay, which I loved. I love Guy Gavriel Kay. Like, every year I set myself a Guy Gavriel Kay book to read because I love him so much, and he never disappoints me. This one is based around the troubadour culture that sort of came up in, like, Provence in, like, the Middle Ages, medieval times. So obviously, like, there's this whole, like, court of love aspect, which just reminds me of, like, Eleanor of Aquitaine and all that sort of thing. That sort of, like, troubadour song aspect that ran through it, I really enjoyed. There was, like, multiple threads in this, like there always are in Guy Gavriel Kay books. So it's like you have this one plot line, which is, like, these two powerful men who have this long-standing feud that goes back to a woman years and years ago. You have, like, this wider plot of the country in the north, which is very, like, masculine-based and war-based and that sort of thing, versus, like, Arbonne in the south, which again is ruled by a queen and is all about, like, has all this music, and their goddess is a goddess, whereas it's, for the northern country, it's, like, male gods. And there's this whole, like, that's a greater conflict. There's also, like, this character from the north who's in the south, and you follow him a lot. Like, there were lots of different plot lines I enjoyed. I love the way that, like, you start off these fantasy books and you're like, all of these different things, and then they just, like, come together and you're just like, oh, yay, great. And if you watch my books I want to read in 2017 video next week, I will be including another one of his on there. Number, I think, 7 is Seamus Heaney's The Burial at Thebes, which I mistakenly thought was poetry when I did this video at the start of the year, because I didn't realise that it was literally a translation of the play. So, oops. It was really great. I don't think I've actually read Antigone in its full. I think I've read excerpts in studying them, but I've never actually just, like, read the play, so now I have read the play, which is great. I do want to read some Seamus original poetry in the new year rather than a translation, because I've done Beowulf and this. So I have read some of his poetry obviously previously, but I would like to focus more on reading his own poetry than necessarily his translations of things, I think, just because I love him. Number 8 was poetry, and that is Autobiography of Red by Anne Carson. I liked this, but I didn't love it. I felt like I had a slight disconnect. So I was reading it, and I think it's objectively very good, but I didn't have, like, it didn't, like, speak to me in my soul, if you know what I mean. So I don't know if I would read any more Anne Carson, or if I'm maybe like, I've dipped my toe in those waters, but like, not a priority. So yeah, it was good, but I didn't love it. Number 9 was Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. Really loved this, thought it was gorgeous, reminded me a lot of Letter to My Daughter by Maya Angelou, and insofar as it had all of those like little moments of like wisdom and quotable bits, which you're just like, oh, I have to like write this down. I really liked it. I have more Rainer Maria Rilke poetry to read in the new year, so I'm excited to just explore him a bit more, and yeah, so I enjoyed it, but it made me want to read his poetry rather than his letters, which is a good sign. Finally, the 10th book that I set myself to read in 2016 was Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, and I have to admit that I haven't even bought it. I bought too many books this year, as we well know, because every other video is a haul video. So I set myself on a book buying ban, and then I just sort of like never got round to buying Carry On. And I will, I really will. I know it's going to be delightful and wonderful and everything. I'm just going to like get to there when I get to there, I think. Save that little gem for when I need it. So those are the 10 books that I set myself to read in 2016. I think 8 out of 10 is not bad. It's a lot better than I was expected to do, actually. Like, I'm weirdly proud that I like got over halfway and stuck to it. If you have read any of these books and have thoughts on them, I would love to hear them. Or just let me know what books you particularly wanted to read this year, if you succeeded, etc, etc, etc. I would be interested to hear. Stick around next week for my books I want to read in 2017, and I'm still not entirely sure when I'm posting this, so I hope you are either having a great Christmas or had a great Christmas, and I hope that you are going to have a fabulous New Year's Eve celebration and all that wonderfulness. Until next time, bye.